Hi, John and Maria Hoffman at Tampa Home Group at Keller Williams New Tampa. And Maria, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And so now we're in the first week of 2026. And as we look back at the last year, I think we've learned a lot and we've had some great successes. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, wow. We, December was a great month for a lot of our clients. We had some buyers get some great values and close before the end of the year so they can homestead their homes, and both new construction and resales. And we had quite a few sellers that actually closed on their property before the end of the year, and quite a few of them had been on the market, John, with other agents for one 6 months, another one over a year. And
a couple of those we were able to get under contract, say December 10th, and close by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that buyer could get the homestead.
Yeah, we've got some very, very happy sellers that had been given the advice by other agents to wait till the spring. And three people were given that advice to wait, and all three of them are closed. So,
well, that homestead's so important. And we have a neighbor that we noticed, they've been living in their house for how many years and they'd never homesteaded.
Yeah, so their taxes are quite a bit high.
Oh my gosh, so anybody out there, make sure your house is homesteaded. And if you're not sure, look up in the tax, or call us, or look up in the tax record to make sure that you've got the that you've got the homestead. Now, going into this is the first week in January. So throughout the area, the active inventory is always the lowest in January. And that's because so many people come off the market at the end of the year that weren't successful. And we're more of a spring market, right? And so that inventory is going to continue to build up.
Yeah, every week. I think we are going to see it go up every week from now on.
And so then we'll hit the spring market where we get more competitive and there's more choices and there's a lot of pressure on the interest rates to come down. And there's just a lot going on, but you know what's going on. I went and toured new construction this past weekend. And
I know, you saw some...
my gosh, did I see some deals. Here's one. It's new construction, conservation lot, 2-story, 5-bedroom, 4-bath on a pond. And it's listed for under 3,270 square feet of heated air conditioned space, under $200 a foot in Two Rivers.
Wow.
And so to make this even better, the developer is paying off the bond issue on the CDD.
Wow.
And so this same builder is, somebody goes in there and picks on a lot, is paying off the CDD, giving you a pool.
Wow.
Right? A standard size pool with pavers, no lanai, no spa. You'd have to pay extra for that. And they're giving you $20,000 of closing costs.
Wow.
And so I came across another builder that is offering, it's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, 4.5-bath, 1-story home, 3.99% financing. And I've got a list here. This is MI Homes, where they're offering homes that were originally, these are their inventory homes that were originally priced at $710. They're now at $619 with $20,000 towards closing costs and a discounted interest rate if you finance through them.
Wow.
Now, Maria, the interesting thing about this is that in this November, December of every year, the builders, this is when it gets the best.
Right. Those specials are going away.
Real soon.
Real soon, yeah. Those aren't going to be there forever.
So it's really important that, when people are looking, that there are some really good values at new construction, because new construction, they're only selling about 50% of their goals. And so while these deals are going to go away, there's some pretty good values out there. Matter of fact, if somebody's going to be living in a house for the next 7 years
Yeah.
or longer,
Yeah.
you go down to Parish,
Yeah.
there are every builder in town's there, and they are really struggling. There's so much pressure pushing their pricing down, and the builders having to offer incentives that over time they're going to appreciate quite a bit. But this is more of a long-term hold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense? And
Right.
so,
If you're going to have to turn around and sell it next year, not a great plan. But
well, the good thing with our agents is that they're so well versed in new construction that we can actually point people in the right direction. Well, here's a good value. Here's a better value.
yeah.
But also warn about bad floor plans and lots and fees and
Right.
and everything else. Why? Which is in Two Rivers, those fees are high. Then that one builder paying off the bond issue on the CDD, I think, is so smart.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how long that lasts for. What are you seeing in the resale inventory?
Well, our inventory has actually, it took a little bit of a dip from October to November, but we're about to see a whole lot more come on the market. I mean, and it happens every year is that people wait till after the holidays. And there were absolutely some sellers that took advantage of that November, December timeframe and got contracts, and we were busy. We were busy over the past 2 weeks.
Well, when you talk about the inventory going up, and we just did market updates for Lutz, Land O'Lakes, West of Chapel, New Tampa, and Odessa,
Mm-hmm.
and year over year, we're seeing the number of homes that have come off the market. It's gone up 100, 120%,
Yes.
but the pricing is only going down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So what that tells us is there's a real demand for housing, and buyers are being pickier, and sometimes the seller's expectations are just unreasonable.
Yeah.
I've had to tell sellers in the past, there's a better chance I'm going to be 30 years old again than then getting the price that they want for their house.
Yeah. Well, and John, the thing is that if a seller is a buyer, right? If you're selling one house to turn around and buy another one, you might sell your home for a little bit less than what you had hoped, but if you're going to turn around and buy, you're going to make it up because there are some great values. And so depending on your goals and where you want to live and what you want to accomplish, it can absolutely make sense to take a little bit less for your house and get where you want to go.
Well,
take advantage of some of the values.
depending on your buying power, but back it up a little bit. If based on condition, location, lot, age of the roof, the HVAC, everything else, if a seller needs a price or picks a price for whatever reason that is above what buyers are willing to pay, that's why we're seeing the number of homes that fail to sell keep going up every
100%. In fact, on New Year's, we had the biggest number of expires. Every month, the first of the month, there'll be a lot of homes will come off the market. So on New Year's Day, right, which is one of the biggest expired days of the year, we had over 375 homes expire in the Tampa Bay MLS. That's a big number.
Well, that wasn't just, that was the area that you wanted to look at. That wasn't
That's not even the whole MLS. That's just the area that we ourselves would cover.
And that's a much smaller area than
Yeah.
all of our MLS, because
Yeah.
we're over 3
Yeah.
counties. So we just need to be clear about that. But it's really important to note that when you see areas only down 2 or 3% year over year, with so many homes failing to sell, that just tells us that there's a strong demand for real estate. Sometimes the seller's expectations just aren't the reality. And, as you talk to expireds, quite often it's the sellers didn't understand the value because it wasn't explained to them correctly.
That is most often the case, is that they either, they listed with a brand new agent, they didn't really take time to do the homework, and so, unfortunately, in the time that they sat on the market for 3, 6, 10 months, their home actually went down in value. So it was a very expensive experience to have.
What's the biggest enemy to a homeowner's equity?
Days on the market.
Days on the market.
Yeah.
You only have one opportunity to be fresh and new, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so sellers just need to be aware of that. But so here we are in early January, and tell me if I'm right. If somebody is...
John, you're always right. We know that.
Well, usually. But if somebody wants to sell this spring because of schools,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they're going to want to finish the school year, that is the busiest time in our market.
Yes.
every year.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're wanting to go on the market in the spring, what they should do is figure out what landscaping do I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
how power washing, painting, baseboards, doors, do I need to replace carpet? Can I clean it? Can I clean grout? I need to declutter, because the homeowners that take the time to do that
Yeah.
are the ones that are selling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's no surprise with inflation and people's pay hasn't kept up, money's tight. Buyers aren't interested in, for the most part, fixing up a home, painting and carpet, and they're wanting new construction. And with the great deals that we still see with new construction, that's who you're competing with.
Yeah. Yeah. Buyers don't want projects. And the great thing is that, if a seller wants to get the home ready, and let's say they want to be on the market in March, right? This is the time that we can help them with those items without the stress, and to help save the money, prioritize, do the things that are really going to make a difference, and not do the things that won't matter. And so the biggest thing that a seller could do is, I'd say, call your agent, find your agent before you want the sign up in the yard. Don't try to undertake all of these things.
No, you're going to need at least 30 to 45 days or more to get everything together. But you made a comment a minute ago that I want to talk about. You talked about that these people that didn't understand the pricing, and it was newer agents. It's true, it's newer agents, but you can be a realtor for 10 years and sell 3 homes a year, 4 homes a year, 5 homes a year, and you don't know how to price real estate.
Right.
You don't know how to guide. It's interesting. The biggest change, because I don't know if you know this, Maria, you probably do. This May will be my 40th year in real estate.
Wow.
And the biggest change that I've seen is over the last 5 years. And it's these big mega teams that will have 30, 40. I've got a good friend of mine. He's got over 100 agents, right? Mm-hmm. And these agents are getting all these leads, and they are talking to a lot of sellers, but they don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so you need to be able to explain to a seller, gosh, Mr. Seller, I know you want $650 for your home, but based on this information, and I'll explain to you point by point why it's really worth probably $620, $623. And then once we go through that conversation with them, they're like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. I guess my expectations were higher. It's that conversation that's missing. There's not as many agents that are out there listing property that have the level of expertise to guide somebody.
Yeah. Well, which is why every month 80% of the homes on the market aren't selling right now.
Well, you're right. And so as we go into next year, as we try to provide as much helpful information as we can to sellers, if you're going to be selling your house, please don't list your house because the neighbor had success with a realtor, or you got a family friend or a relative. I really want you to interview at least 2 agents.
Yeah, I'd say interview 2 agents, and and ask them for a copy of their track record, right? Like have them show you, what have they sold last year themselves, right? What do they currently have pending? What are they selling right now? You want to see that what they're doing is actually working, right? That's what I'd want to see.
So you want to look at how many homes they sold this year and the year before, their list to sales price ratio.
Yes.
But what I hear people say, and this just happened last week, I asked the seller, how did you pick this realtor? Well, they came from a group, this team, they sold over 1,000 homes. I'm like, yeah, but how many did that agent sell?
Yeah.
And so when we looked it up, the agent had only sold 6 homes in their career.
Yeah.
And the seller didn't know that. So you can't expect an agent that sold so few homes to know how to maneuver in this market. That's not fair to that agent.
Yeah.
And so really the responsibility of finding a good agent and asking the right questions, I think, falls on the seller. And don't get bogged down because you're going to list it just with the agent that charges you the least amount of commission.
Yeah, boy. I've seen a lot of that, people hiring agents that are barely charging them anything. They're ridiculous fees, and yet it's like, what are those agents actually doing?
Well, the house isn't
sell your
selling, so they're
home.
not paying anything.
Well, it's true. It's true.
Right? So
Yeah,
it's free.
So right, and so in the end, the sad thing is, by choosing that cheap agent, right, their home is actually depreciated in the time frame that they've been on the market, and they're no further ahead. So it's actually has cost them money.
Well, in a market that's depreciating is point one. Point two is, and I'll tell you, usually the cost of carrying the house.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the market for 6 months, you've got a $3,000 mortgage payment, and then you got HOA fees, you've got insurance, you've got utilities. So you're all in. That mistake has cost you $20,000.
Yeah.
Not even including the depreciation. Right?
Yeah.
So it can be expensive. And so, but anyhow, we're entering 2026. I've got a really good idea of what I think is going to happen in this market, and I'm creating the video, the podcast next week, and it will be available for everybody. And I'll give you a little hint. I think we're going to have a pretty decent year in 2026, but stay tuned and watch the video. I want to thank everybody for checking out our podcast. Maria and I really appreciate the time that you spend with us. As always, we're here to help.